Hey traders, Jason here from Leavitt Brothers. Happy Thursday. Hope your trading is going well. There have been a lot of good setups to play, so for a change, trading has been easier recently than in the recent past. In this video, I'm going to cover a handful of our current trades. The purpose here is to give you an idea as to what we've been doing at Leavitt Brothers and also to dissect a few trades and show you how we zoom in and look for entries. Okay, keep it simple. We look for strong stocks in strong groups on the weekly and daily time frames, and then we zoom in with intraday charts to find good entries. Okay, we use a couple of indicators and a couple of moving averages on multiple time frames. That's it. It's a pretty simple system. All right, so let's get to it. All right, here's QTT. We first got interested in the stock back over here. Okay, we played it here. Okay, and obviously we had a nice gain. Then it consolidated. We placed it on our list last week, and so we had a resistance level here, and then it moved up yesterday, so we kind of redrew and said, hey, there might be another resistance level here. But obviously it's up nicely today, so it's doing really well. So it treated us really well in December, and now it's treating us well again. Okay, for those of you who follow me, you know that when I identify a resistance level, I kind of like to zoom in on an intraday chart to try and find a better entry. Okay, so once I find a chart like this that's setting up, the first thing that crossed my mind is let me zoom in on the 60-minute chart, 30-minute chart, 15-minute chart. Let me see if I can find an entry below resistance, because if resistance turns out to be a false breakout, then I have a little bit of a cushion to work with. Okay, so if I zoom in here with the 60, you can see this highlights something that I really like to do. Okay, you can see the orange line here, which is the 21 period EMA. So the stock trends up above the EMA, then it trends sideways, and then it starts trending up again. So what I like to do is, what I notice is that when you have a stock that trends up, then out of nowhere, it kind of does this. It goes below the moving average, above the moving average, below the moving average, above, below, above, below, above. And then look at this. It starts to find support at the moving average again. Okay, that tells me that the trend is about to reassert itself. Okay, so this is one thing I look for. I think we have an uptrend here, we have a flat period here, and then I'm looking for the uptrend to reassert itself. Okay, so I look for that. I look for a key moving average, which it rides. Then it trades in a flat period where it goes above and below the moving average. Then when the moving average starts to become support again, then I know that there's a good chance that the trend is going to reassert again. And that's what happened here. This is a 60-minute chart. So this is a 21 moving average on the 60-minute chart. You can see there's nice support here. And then today it took off. It's got a nice gain. We have a nice gain today. Next chart, Skyworks. Okay, so we have the 21, this is the daily chart, so we have the 21 was resistance there, and I had identified, the stock made a new low, surged, pretty good volume, set up here in a pattern, okay, and then so I'm looking to play the breakout, but I'm also looking, is there an entry within the pattern that will enable me to get in early? Because again, if the breakout proves to be false, then it's nice to have a little cushion in place. Okay, so this area here is where I'm gonna look at. So if I zoom into the 60, that area here, that area that I just showed you is this area here. Okay, and as you can see, the 200 on the 60-minute chart was resistance here. It was resistance in this area too, but then we have support right there, we have support right there, and we have support right there. Okay, so the breakout, if you're looking for a breakout, the breakout was going to be over here at 71. By zooming in with an intraday chart, I see the ups and downs. I see a moving average that proves to be support. That gives me a place to put a stop. So I can enter within the pattern, because then if the breakout at 71 proves to be false, if we get something like this, then because I got in somewhere over here, I have a little bit of a cushion to work with. Okay, I know you got to take small losses. It happens, but you know what? If you if you chase a breakout here, and then so you're in over here, but then you're getting out over here. If you do that over and over, you're gonna, your account's gonna suffer. But if you can get in a little bit early, then when this happens, if it's a false breakout, then you can break even. You could make a little bit of money. Okay, and over the long haul, that adds up. Okay, so that's how you could have played this one. Notice the pattern setting up, and then there was a way to get into the stock within the pattern, and so far so good. The stock's up, today is down a little bit, but it's up overall. All right, next chart. So here's IQ. So I had identified the 19 level as an important level. Okay, it was support over here. It was resistance right over here. Okay, a little bit of resistance here, then it comes over here and forms more resistance. So I was looking here. I was wondering, okay, I got resistance here. I could chase a breakout, that's fine, but I'd like to zoom in on the intraday chart and see if I could find a better entry other than chasing a breakout. So I was zooming in on that area there. So here's the 60-minute chart. That area that I just said where I zoomed in on is over here. Okay, so again, 19 was the resistance level going back. Okay, so the stock lost its 50 on the hourly chart. It came back up, solidified resistance, and then came back down and tested it, and that's kind of like when I get the green light. Okay, so I'm looking at this overall pattern. I see resistance at 19. I see the stock above the 50, below the 50, above the 50, solidifying resistance. When it comes down, I find support at the 50. That gives me, hey, I can get in here on this dip. My stop goes right below the moving average, a little bit below that, depending on if you have a horizontal line that's important. And so you're in. Now, right now I'm in, and obviously it's doing really well. If this would have broken out and come down like this, lost the previous trend line, and then lost the moving average, well, because you're in here, I have a cushion to work with. Okay, so it's just the way I like to operate. I like to find stocks on the weekly and daily time frames, then zoom in on the 60, find a moving average or two that are in sync with the stock, and then I like to get in within the pattern a little bit early with a tight stop, and that way if it works out great, I'm in a little bit early, I make more money. But if it ends up being a false breakout, I have a cushion to work with. Okay, here's Zendesk, a stock we played several times over the last year or so. So I had identified 64 as an important level. Obviously the stock came down, kind of did a double bottom here. You got a little bit of a pause here, which I'll show you in the next chart. But more importantly, when the stock moved all the way up to here, that's where it really got my attention. Okay, as of here, it looks bad. Rallies all the way back. That's an impressive rally. Comes down, puts in a higher low, and then rallies all the way up here. It's consolidating at a higher level. Okay, so again, I want to zoom in here. Okay, I could chase a breakout at 64, but I'd prefer to zoom in and try and find an entry within here that will enable me to get in a little bit early. Okay, so if I zoom in with the 60, you can see that area that I wanted to zoom in on is about right here. Okay, so when the move started off the bottom, you can see it went above the hourly 50, came down and tested it, and then moved up. Okay, so that told me that the hourly 50 was probably going to come into play. Stock then moved up, moved sideways long enough that the hourly 50 was able to come up and catch the stock. And then obviously the stock has traded, followed the moving average all the way up. Okay, so again, I'm going to zoom in. 64, to put things in perspective, 64 is like right here. Okay, so again, instead of chasing a breakout, which is fine, you could do that under the right conditions, I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to say, hey, I think we got an entry down here at like 61, 61 and a half, maybe even 62. That will enable me to have a little bit of a cushion so that when the stock actually does take out 64, if it proves to be a false breakout, I have a cushion to work with. Okay, this one, I don't want to say it was nerve-wracking, but traded above and below 64 several times over the course of several days before it actually started to move up. All right, a few more here. FAS is a stock that we've been riding all month. I've been telling subscribers at Leavitt Brothers that as long as the 60 moving average on the hourly chart holds, the stock is a hold. So this has been on our list for an entire month, and as long as this moving average holds, we're going to stick with it. Builder's First Source. This is another example of how trend lines reassert. As you can see, the stock moves up, moves sideways, starts to move up. You can see the stock goes above the moving average, below, above, below, above, below, above. And it comes back down and suddenly it finds support at the moving average, and that kind of tells you that this basing period is about to end. Or maybe it's not about to end, but it's likely, there's a good possibility. Okay, so again, we have a stock that moves up, moves sideways. I'm looking for hints that that trend is going to reassert itself. And when a stock goes above and below, above and below, above and below moving average, and then suddenly it finds support at that moving average, that tells me that this consolidation period is probably going to end, and the stock's going to attempt to move up again. All right, next. Okay, here's CLDR. Okay, I might have covered this one last week. Stock had a little base, traded above 11.5, then it consolidated like right here below the 50 moving average, and while it was consolidating, it created another resistance level at 12. So instead of chasing a breakout at 12, which would have been a breakout of resistance and a breakout of the 50-day moving average, I want to zoom in within this pattern, see if I can see a moving average that maybe is in sync with the stock. That'll enable me to get in a little bit early. Okay, so if I zoom in here, that period, if I can highlight, so 12 here, this was the resistance. Okay, so that period there that I was referring to where I was hoping to be able to get in a little bit early and not wait till 12 was taken out is like right here. Okay, so you have the stock that goes, it's below the 50 moving average, above, below, above. At that point in time, it just looks like a stock that's basing. But when it finds support here, and then it solidifies support here and solidifies support here, there are opportunities to get in before the stock breaks out at 12. Okay, so if you can get in over here, then if the stock breaks out and then just fails, then you could scratch the trade. Maybe make a little bit, maybe lose a little bit, but it's a heck of a lot better than getting in here and then having it fail. Okay, so again, find a stock on the daily or weekly, zoom in, look for a moving average that seems to be in sync with the stock, and you can often get better entries. All right, a couple more quick ones. GoDaddy was one that we've had on our list as just a breakout play here. It's one that we're currently in. It broke out, didn't really do anything for a couple days, and finally in the last 2 days it has gotten a little bit gathered a little bit more momentum. ZS is a stock that we're in. Okay, so we had identified, there's a breakout level here, and then we have a kind of a base at a higher level here. And again, you can zoom in here, look for entries. It was a previously strong stock, which piques our curiosity. It does another one of those, above and below the moving average here. And then right here it starts to find support. It tells you like, hey, maybe this up-down action is going to end. Moves up, bases again, and then today it's continuing. All right, thanks for listening. If you like the video, want me to do more, give it a like, share it with your trading friends. You can also subscribe to the channel right here at YouTube and be alerted of new content when it's posted. Come check us out at Leavitt Brothers. If you're not getting the results you want, you got to change something. Okay, change the types of trades you do, change how you do your research, where you get your ideas from. Try different things until you find something that works. Okay, come check us out at Leavitt Brothers. Maybe we're for you, maybe we're not. You never know. Give us a shot. Again, thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.